welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am bringing you my first impressions on the Paint and Shine mystery series by Cheryl Hollon. The first book in this series is Still Knife Painting. This was the July selection for Book 1 Cozy's Club, or the first in a series Cozy Mystery Book Club. In this book, we follow our main character, Miranda. She has just inherited her uncle's farm property and has decided to uproot her life and move there and start a brand new business where she takes people on a tour. She takes them up to this scenic area on a hiking trail that's local and basically teaches them how to paint the scenery. So she'll actually paint along with them and tell them what techniques to use in order to create the painting. And then when they're done painting, they go back to her farmhouse where she has an authentic cultural meal. And with that, there is also a moonshine tasting. That's where the paint and shine theme comes in. Well, on her first day of business, her very first tour, it's not going as well as she'd hoped. Things get off to a very rocky start. They finally get everybody together, go and do the painting, and as she is finishing up the painting, she's feeling a little bit more confident in what she decided to set out to do in her skills as this business owner. They start going down to the farmhouse to do their eating and moonshine tasting. Well, she has hired not only someone from the local distillery to come and talk to people about the moonshine, but she has also hired a local cook. And so the cook is making the food while the distillery owner is talking about moonshine and has the customers try their first pre-meal beverage. And as they are getting ready to serve the first item on the menu, they go to retrieve the cook and tell her, okay, it's time to bring out the first dish, only to find her dead in the kitchen with a knife to the chest. So of course, Miranda and her guests are the first suspects, but really when it comes down to it, Miranda has a lot at stake here. She's just starting to get her business off the ground. The murder occurred at her house. It's her utensils, her fingerprints all over the place. So she needs to find out who the killer was, what their motive was, in order to clear her name and, of course, clear the reputation of her business. I am going to be very honest with you and say that I didn't really enjoy this one. There were definite things that I did enjoy as far as Miranda's business. I found that to be a very interesting thing to do, especially because in the story they say it's not common for something like that to be done where she is, and I believe it's in Kentucky. I personally probably would never go on something like that because, one, I'm not very artistic, and two, I don't really drink alcohol. And so for me, in real life, that wouldn't be something that I would be interested in taking. However, I did find it interesting seeing how she dealt with teaching people how to paint the landscape and how she thought about all of these people to try to hire to get her business going. She obviously has a very savvy business sense because she was able to put together something like this and bring in local people to also help. And not only that, to help kind of build up their business. Like I said, Dan, or the guy that she brought in from the distillery, his name is Dan, he has a distillery. He sells moonshine, and he also has this expertise in order to talk about these people about his product. And not only that, he shows them how to create these mixed drinks, and I found that to be interesting as well. This book also has recipes in the back, so a lot of the things that you see talked about in the book are mentioned and noted as far as the recipes go in the back of the book. So I did like those aspects of it. I also enjoyed Miranda when she was not in the sleuthing mode. There are times within this story where she's just having a plain old normal conversation with one of the other characters, and I really enjoyed her then. I also enjoyed the sheriff and his wife. We get the point of view a few times in this book where it's just the sheriff talking to his wife, who is the coroner, about the case at hand, and I found those characters to be very interesting as well. But there were a lot more things about this story that I didn't like than I liked. Now, what makes this different from last month's selection, which you know I DNF'd, was that this story had something that kept me coming back to read it. At no point did I say, I just don't want to read this book anymore, which is how I felt with last month's selection. I also couldn't find anything good to say about last month's selection. And obviously I've already told you a few things that I really enjoyed about this book. So even though I really didn't enjoy this one, there were definite things I did enjoy. Now, going on to some of the things that I didn't enjoy was Miranda in her sleuthing mode. I mentioned to you that I enjoyed her when she was outside of her sleuthing mode. When she was in her sleuthing mode, I definitely didn't like her. I found her investigative style very interrogative. It was almost as if she was a police officer. The way she was talking to people and asking questions, it was more like a demand for information, and it was very direct and not very suave for someone who's an amateur, a sleuth, someone who should be, trying to find interesting ways, at least in my mind, to try to find out the information that they want. I think, especially in a real life situation, if somebody's coming up to you and basically demanding answers to their questions, me as somebody who's responding to a confrontation like that is not going to want to answer those questions. I'm not going to want to talk to that person any longer. And that's how Miranda came across to me when she was trying to get information. Especially being so unprofessional when it came down to dealing with the customers from that first tour that she had taken. They were all suspects. They were all waiting around for the police to investigate them, and she, I don't think, handled that situation very well. And I thought maybe that just because it was her first day and she was obviously overwhelmed with everything that happened, that later on in the book things would change a little bit. She'd find a better way to approach people and get information that she wanted, but that wasn't the case throughout the book. There were also a lot of inconsistencies in the story. I think this book needed a lot more editing than it got. For example, in one of the chapters, Miranda finds out information about her uncle from another character in the story, and in the very next chapter, she says that she told the other character about the information that the other character had told her in the previous chapter. And so there's an inconsistency there. Also, towards the end of the book, the name of the victim gets changed. The first name of the victim is different, and it's not only mentioned different once, it's mentioned different twice. And I thought that was very strange as well. Obviously that should have been caught in the editing process, but it wasn't. And so there were instances like that which made the reading of this book very choppy to me, because I kept having to go back and say, wait a minute, didn't this happen? Or wait a minute, wasn't this? And so I didn't really enjoy those parts either. I found the mystery portion of this book to be interesting and pretty plausible, but the way some of the things were handled by the detectives were not very plausible. I even found that sometimes the people that were working on this case were almost comedic, and I didn't know how to take that. Like, I don't know if that's just because that's how we're seeing them through Miranda's eyes, and she basically, thought that she knew better, especially with the way that she was coming across. And she does kind of come across like she knows what should be done in situations like this, which she doesn't have a background in law enforcement. So I found that to be very strange as well. I also really didn't enjoy Miranda kind of putting herself down a lot. She puts herself down quite a bit in her mind, a lot in this book, but there are also times where she puffs herself up, and I didn't enjoy that either. So unfortunately, I will not be continuing with this series, but I did enjoy certain parts of this book, and I enjoyed the recipes that had followed. So if you want to hear more about the things that I had experienced while I was reading this book, definitely check out my chapter by chapter playlist, which I'll link down in the description box below. Those are my audio only reading vlogs while I was reading the book, so there are spoilers in those videos, just so you know. But that being said, unfortunately, I will not be continuing with this series. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know that the August Book One Cozies Club selection will be Poison Pen, the first book in the Forensic Handwriting Mystery series by Sheila Lowe. This book is about a forensic handwriting specialist, so I'm looking forward to finding out how that whole process about investigating handwriting samples is, because I do find that to be very interesting. This one came out of the Book One Cozies Club jar, which I found to be very fitting because August marks the 5-year anniversary of Book One Cozies Club. I can't believe that Book One Cozies Club has been going on for 5 years, but it is the 5-year anniversary, and so this will be the selection that we will be reading in August. I did try to check Hoopla at my library, and unfortunately it wasn't available there, but I did see that this book was recently released as an ebook copy both on Nook and Kindle for $2.99 as of the date that I am filming this video. So definitely go check that out if you think this is going to be one that you're interested in reading along with me. I will be doing a chapter by chapter as usual on this. Those will start posting around the 10th of August. But if you are interested in only my general unspoilery thoughts, definitely keep an eye out for the series First Impressions video, which will be posted closer towards the end of August. So that is all that I have for you today. Let me know if you have read this one and what you thought of it, or if you will be reading Poison Pen along with us in August. You can also come talk to me in the Mystery Madness Goodreads group or our Discord, which are linked down in the description box below. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.